So before I get into the vlogging of my personal growth of this year, I want to crank out the rest of these Chuck Klosterman questions. So we're going to try and get the rest into one video, which means I'm cutting this intro a little bit short. We left off at question 15. You have a brain tumor. Though there is no discomfort at the moment, the tumor will unquestionably kill you in 6 months. However, your life can and will be saved by an operation. The only downside is that there will be a brutal incision in your frontal lobe. After the surgery, you will be significantly less intelligent. You will still be a fully functioning adult, but you will be less logical. You will have a terrible memory, and you will have less ability to understand complex concepts or difficult ideas. The surgery is in 2 weeks. How do you spend the next 14 days? I spend the next 14 days planning the next 6 months of my life because I'm not having that surgery, because I would rather have the most amazing adventures of my life for 6 months than to spend the rest of my life confused and disoriented about everything that's going on around me. Number 16. Someone builds an optical portal that allows you to see a vision of your own life in the future. It's essentially a crystal ball that shows you a randomly selected image of what your life will be like in 20 years. You can only see into this portal for 30 seconds. When you finally peer into the crystal, you see yourself in a living room, 2 decades older than you are today. You are watching a Canadian football game, and you are extremely happy. You are wearing a CFL jersey. Your chair is surrounded by books and magazines that promote the Canadian Football League, and there are CFL pennants covering your walls. You are alone in the room, but you are gleefully muttering about historical moments in Canadian football history. It becomes clear that for some unknown reason, you have become obsessed with Canadian football. And this future is static and absolute. No matter what you do, this future will happen. The optical portal is never wrong. This destiny cannot be changed. The next day, you are flipping through television channels and randomly come across a preseason CFL game between the Toronto Argonauts and the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Knowing your inevitable future, do you watch it? Well, knowing that it's an inevitable future, that I will in the future be completely obsessed with Canadian football, I don't watch it now. Why rush the inevitable? Number 17. You are sitting in an empty bar in a town you've never before visited, drinking Bacardi with a soft-spoken acquaintance you barely know. After an hour, a third individual walks into the tavern and sits by himself, and you ask your acquaintance who the new man is. Be careful of that guy, you are told. He is a man of the past. A few minutes later, a fourth person enters the bar and also sits alone. You ask your acquaintance who this new individual is. Be careful of that guy, too, he says. He's a man with no past. Which of these two people do you trust less? I trust the man with no past less than the man with a past, because everybody has a past. And this no past man is probably just a giant liar, because everybody's got a past. Unless you're like that Kyle XY guy who was born at 16. But that's not real, so. Number 18. You have won a prize. The prize has 2 options. You can choose either, but not both. The first option is a year in Europe with a monthly stipend of $2,000. The second option is 10 minutes on the moon. Which option do you select? I'm going to select the, 2 months in Europe, because I have no desire to go to the moon, and I'm aware that I'm constantly talking about how adventure is the best part of life, but I think I could have a better adventure 2 months in Europe with $2,000 every month, although I don't understand the, difference in monies. Still, it's free $2,000 bucks, and 10 minutes on the moon, this just doesn't interest me at all.